Yeah, you're welcome, President Mark. It's a great delight from us to have you on this JCI series session. But before we start, I'll read something short about you. I've tried to compress it. You forgive it because it's quite short. So I missed out a lot of things. So my guest today is President Marc Brian Lim, the 2018 JCI World President. He is a dynamic leader with rich background in business and public service, former mayor of Dagupan City and now CEO of Magic Group of Companies, leading over 80 retails and food outlets across Northern Luzon. A graduate of Boston College and Harvard Kennedy School, he has been recognized globally for his leadership, receiving Outstanding Filipino Award in 2019. And today, we will journey through his remarkable journey in JCI, business and in governance. You are welcome, President Mark.
Thank you, Temi. To all your viewers and listeners, it's a pleasure to be with you. Despite the time difference that we have with Nigeria, it works perfectly for me because I just got home a few minutes ago. It's always fun to connect with JCI members and to other people who might be interested in listening to what we have to talk about this evening, or in your case, this afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much. So, very quickly, so for some people or many people in Nigeria, they might not know you, which I call people living on to tell us about yourself in your own words.
Yeah, I'm a. I guess I have dabbled in the world of business. I have dabbled in the world of public service and government. I have dabbled definitely in the world of nonprofit organizations like JCI, and I think I'm very lucky to have had all those experiences, and definitely over the years, my experience in each arena has helped me in the other arenas that I've been a part of. I can definitely say that my experience in government and politics helped me in my JCI career. My JCI training has definitely helped me in my business career. So, and of course, being president of JCI in 2018, it's a once in a lifetime experience that, in a way, it's very unfortunate that not all JCI members can experience this, but that definitely was an eye opener. And if I remember correctly, my very last country that I visited in 2018 was in Nigeria. That was the last country that I visited.
Wow.
It was the inauguration of past national president Adetola. I remember that. That was my
Yeah.
last. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So I was while I was preparing for this, I tried researching a little about you and I was blown away. Your journey has been legendary. I must say that. I also saw something you posted, I think around June. You mentioned that when you were 10 years old, you that was the first international JCI
Yeah,
event.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
so funny that your dad was also in JCI and you had an uncle in JCI. So I want to ask,
Yes.
because you said the rest was history. I want to unravel a bit of history today. How did that affect your becoming a world president, or did that affect your journey in JCI?
To be honest with you, when I was growing up in our household, I hear JCI a lot. I mean,
Hmm.
my father was very active in JCI in my formative years from the age of about maybe like 8, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old. My dad was flying in and out of the country. He was national president of JCI Philippines in 1990. He was JCI vice president in 1991. I think he was assigned to
Wow.
Korea and Malaysia. And the funny thing was, it was so familiar to me that when I actually came back from the United States after graduating from college in the United States,
Okay.
the members of my chapter kept recruiting me, but for the longest time, I didn't want to join JCI only because it did not make sense to me because my father was such a, shall we say, like a big figure in JCI Philippines. So I was like, why should I even
Yeah.
join JCI? It doesn't even make sense. I'll always be compared to him. If I don't reach certain positions in JCI, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, he's not up to par to his dad and all these things. So To be honest with
Wow.
you, Ted, like, my chapter took them 7 years to recruit me. I remember from 2001 to around
Wow.
2008, they kept on recruiting me every single year. And only because my father was the charter president of my chapter also. So they kind of felt like, oh,
Wow.
it's in your DNA, you have to join JSA. And then finally in 2008, one of my really good friends became president of my local chapter. And he kind of begged me and said, "Hey man, come on, I'm going to be president. You got to join. Come on, just join during this year." And I joined in 2008. And the funny story is that in 2009 to 2010, I wasn't even very active as a member. I was a very,
Wow.
for lack of a better word, a very bad member. I just showed up at the meetings when they were over, and just to hang out with the friends that I had in JCI, to just drink a little beer and like hang out with the friends. But it's very funny because eventually I became president. There's a lot of small stories, Tammy. That to be honest
Mm.
with you. In 2013, I finally became president, and the next thing I know, I was already national president. Next thing I know, I was a candidate for president, and that's history. But
Wow.
going back to your main point, the picture that I posted on Facebook, I was 10 years old. My father at that time was he was the national treasurer of JCI Philippines, and
Yeah.
my chapter, JCI Dagupan Bangus, we had a sister chapter in Japan, in JCI Neyagawa, and every year
Mm.
they would either visit us or we would visit them. And in 1989, it was our turn to visit them because they were celebrating. I think I don't even remember. I think their 20th anniversary or something like that. So my
Mm.
dad just was like, "Oh, just go. You'll experience what." I wasn't even JCI age. I was 10 years old. But my uncle, my mom's sister, was a member. So my dad's like, "Just go with your uncle, and then just enjoy Japan." And they took me everywhere they went. Even that was a courtesy visit to the mayor of Nayagawa, who was a JCI member, by the way. And
Wow.
I vague memories of this. And I just recently found the pictures. And I was like, "Oh, this would be a good thing to post and show everybody that it's never too early to start in JCI."
Awesome. Awesome. You mentioned something that caught my attention. You said there's this idea of you having a sister local organizations that you visit each
Yes,
other. How,
yeah,
how, how does that work? Is it something other country can adopt?
yeah. So it's quite common. It's quite common in Asia. I'm not sure in Africa and Middle East, but like in the Philippines, a lot of the local organizations in the Philippines have sister or brother chapters abroad. So, for example, JCI Manila uh, is brother chapters with all the capital chapters in other countries like JCI Taipei, JCI Tokyo, JCI Kuala
Wow.
Lumpur. So it's quite common. And what usually happens is that once a year they get together, they do some joint
Mm.
projects, they do some joint trainings. They try to keep the relationship alive. And it's very nice because it's a lot of cross cultural experiences, and one of the best ways to learn really is to experience different cultures. And I think
Yeah.
we formalize this even during the World Congress. We have there's always a section in the, I'm sure even in AMEC, there's a twinning agreement. That part of the conference wherein different chapters sign twinning agreements with their sister or brother chapters, so they can have mutual learning and mutual cooperation with one another.
Yeah. Awesome. So what if the your twin sister or your sister local organization is way far from your, I mean, the distance is not close. How do you get to visit? Are there other ways to
Yeah,
connect to make sure that the bonding is still
yeah.
strong?
We haven't we actually have not followed up on the twinning with Negawa. I Based on my conversations with some of the Japanese members, they're also not so familiar with where they are right now. But I do remember that Neagawa is quite close to the city of Osaka. So I remember we flew to Osaka, and we the members picked us up, and I think it was less than like an hour, and we were in the city of Neagawa, and we actually did
Mm.
homestay. The members actually,
Wow.
welcomed us to their homes, and we actually had to, we got to experience living like, the Japanese in Neagawa. Um, yeah, but there's a lot of successful like twinning arrangements that are happening, and it even happens on the national level. Like JCI Philippines is, I know they have a twinning agreement with JCI Malaysia.
Mm.
These sort of things. So it's very nice. It's also an excuse for us to get to see each other more besides going to the conferences and the World Congress. You know.
Yeah, very well, very well. So I was also I know also noticed that you went from being the mayor of Dagupan City to
Yeah.
JCI World President, which I
Yeah.
believe that JCI probably prepared you a lot for that. But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you became the mayor of Dagupan City, were you surprised because that's another stage entirely is governance? Were you surprised, and what are the mindset that helped you?
Yeah. My JCI career actually ran side by side with my political career in a way. I
Oh,
became local chapter president of my home chapter in 2013, and that was also the same year that I was elected as a deputy mayor, or in the Philippines we call it vice mayor. So you're basically
wow.
the second in command of the city. And in 2018, I became president. That was the very next year after my world presidency. I became mayor of the city. So it kind of ran side by
Wow.
side. And in reality, is that I don't know the best way to put this, but uh, governments in developing countries have a lot of challenges. I don't think I have to
Yeah,
elaborate. Um, and in JCI we tend to have things more organized. Like when we have
yeah.
training, parliamentary training, it's
Structure.
project management, it's protocol. So everything is like you just have to show up and learn, right? And things
Yeah.
happen very quickly when we decide certain
Hmm.
things in the World Congress. Once the GA sits down, it's proposed to the GA, and then we vote on it, and it's finished. But government is a
Yeah.
different story. There's a lot of there's a lot of it's not a straight line. It's like a lot of left
Yeah.
turns and right turns before you get to your destination. So at the start, it was a little bit of a struggle because I really thought that things could have been happening a lot faster than they would.
Faster. Yeah.
It's much different in my company, or in JCI. Things happen much faster. But I think the experience, especially the global experience of seeing how different people have different problems and how they resolve it, I think
Mm.
it opens your mind to possibilities, and
Yeah.
you kind of learn how to think out of the box. I was mayor for 3 years, from 2019 to 2022, and unfortunately, that was the pandemic years. So much of
Yeah.
my day was really dealing with the pandemic, and
Wow.
you know, it was how to get the vaccines to the people. It's how to create systems to keep the border secure and all these things. It was very difficult time. It wasn't a normal term for a mayor. I would say it was an
Yeah.
extraordinary. And then the
Awesome.
worst part was that like if you sit as a mayor, you could just basically look at what the previous mayor did and kind of like have a template to follow, right? But the pandemic
Yeah.
threw everybody off, and there's like nothing, there's absolutely nothing you can
Wow.
copy. So it's like, okay, we got to think of how to resolve this thing. It's a very unique problem that never happened in our city, and
Mm.
it was very exhausting. But I've told this to a lot of people. If I had the choice of which particular point in history I would want to be mayor, I would never exchange
Yeah.
pandemic, because it was truly a lot of learning. It was truly difficult and challenging, but in the end, I think the pandemic gave me the opportunity to do things that really directly impacted literally the lives of people. Because on normal occasions,
Mm.
you're just thinking about where to build a new bridge, where to put up a new school building, and that affects people's lives. But literally, like live or die situations, right?
People are
And then,
dying.
it was really
Yeah.
like, I was sending like oxygen tanks to people's house at 3 in the morning because they had a family member who had difficulty breathing. These kind of things, and
Wow.
I could go on and on and on, Timmy. But man, it'll take us 3 days to talk about all of it.
This is so touching. It's so touching. While you were talking, I was just thinking. I wish I could be in your shoe right now without the whole experience. Just be in your shoe, become President Mark right now, but it's not possible. But at the same time, I feel their mindset has helped you to get to where you are. I want you to share a unique mindset that has helped you to leverage or to become who you are today that we can learn from without being your shoes.
Yeah, the thing is like, I don't think it's correct for anybody to want to be like me, or for me to want to be like you or anybody else, because there's really no replication of somebody else's career or experiences. I mean,
Mm,
a complete and perfect copy of it will never happen. We will always have our own experiences. We'll always have our own career paths. Our JCI experiences will always be different. It will be similar, but
mhm,
it will also be different. So the thing I always tell the JCI members that I come across is that, look, when you're young and you are quite new to the organization, when you have a lot of years left in JCI, your only job really, your solitary job is to just take advantage of all the opportunities that the organization has to offer. If
wow.
you have a chance to go to a membership meeting of your chapter, go. If you have a chance to sit down in a parliamentary procedure training, go. If you have the opportunity to go to your national convention, wherever it might be, go. If you have the chance to go to AMEC, go. And just take advantage of all these things, because in the end, all these experiences will definitely give you some kind of learning. And
Yeah.
this, and you will not know this when you experience it. You will kind of know this when you're towards the tail end of your JCI career. And then
Wow.
the flip side happens too when you get older, when you're in your late 30s, you're going to 40s, and you're graduating from the organization. Then you start to realize that, hey, you know what? It's not about me taking opportunities anymore in this organization. It's about me giving away the opportunities to the younger members. And I truly felt that.
Yeah.
And especially actually when I went to Africa. I mean, this is classic Africa. If the president goes to any part of Africa, right? The moment you step off the
Yeah.
plane and the moment you step foot on the soil, the members are happy. Your presence alone makes everybody happy, and I experienced this in
Yeah.
every country that I visited in Africa. It was
Wow.
amazing. I had an amazing time. I went to Cote d'Ivoire. I went to Benin. I went to Zimbabwe. I went to Nigeria. I went to Togo. I mean, I felt that every time I stepped foot, as soon as I got off the plane, got onto the airport, everybody was just happy that you're there. I didn't even have to do anything. And
Wow.
this is a great attitude to have, man. I tell you. And
Awesome.
I
Thank
tell
you
this
for
story all
that.
the time. Which countries made you felt the most welcome as a JSA president? I always say, oh, go to Africa.
Tell us.
Man, you go to Africa, everybody's just gonna be
Awesome.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys show
Wow.
appreciation really, really well, you know. So I'm very thankful for that, and I'm happy I got to experience that when I was president.
Thank you for that. So I was also thinking, aside COVID, what was the scariest moment for you in your whole journey that you felt you were literally going to enter the ground?
Yeah, I think the if I'm talking about my career, and I'm talking about my career in JC and everything. I think the scariest part was really during the pandemic. Like, you cannot help but think, um, and this happens a lot, and I guess this is normal for if you were a public servant during the pandemic. Is that at the end of the day, you kind of think like, did I do everything that I can today?
Mm,
Did I help as
mm,
many people as I could? I mean, it's impossible to save everybody. We know that.
yeah,
It's impossible to, to be 100% perfect in the way you deliver service to the people, especially during the pandemic. But
yeah,
that was a very scary thing to think about. Like asking yourself if you did enough, and you kind of like leave it to faith, whatever it is that your religion is. But like you kind of leave it to faith that, hey, I really did my best today. I gave it my all, and man, if I have any shortcomings, I just hope that everything turns out well. And that was a lot of pressure. That was a lot of pressure. And it wasn't odd for me to be like texting or calling people at 4 in the morning, at 2 in the morning, calling the city health office at
wow,
2 in the morning, following up on this, following up on that. Did the vaccines arrive on time? Did the refrigeration system, is it working? Do we have backup power just in case there's a power outage? All these things you think about, I mean, because as I said, it's like a life or death, right? Life or death situation. So I think that was the
It,
scariest. Of course,
yeah,
when you're in front of the people, when you're giving statements on social media, you can't
look good.
there. You can't. You have to act confident, and you have to like kind of keep people calm and assure them, right? And by the way, when I was mayor, I got sick with COVID, and I was hospitalized for like
Wow,
6 days. And I remember before going to the hospital, I had to make a video to be released on social media, basically telling the people, yes, I have COVID, yes, I have a little bit of pneumonia.
wow,
I'm going to go to the hospital, but I had to make a statement that don't worry, I'm going to be okay. We're going to keep on working for the people and all these things. And I
yeah,
remember making that video, man, my head was just buzzing. I had the worst headache. I had like a 40-degree
wow,
fever. It's like, but you have to keep your composure and all these things. But I mean, these are the experiences, man, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. And
yeah.
I just hope that we have the opportunity to kind of share this experience with the JCI members as well. Kind of help them in their journeys any way we can.
I was literally getting very emotional as we were talking because I was just imagining being in your shoes. It's a lot of demand, and some people
Yeah,
don't even recognize what you are going through.
yeah.
They expect you to show up despite whatsoever. But in the midst of this,
Tell me,
where
that's the nature of politics, right? Like eh,
yeah,
you can have the best of intentions. You can do things as perfect as you can, and yet people, especially your political opponents, would never see the good that you do. They'd always just like pick things, pick the smallest and the stupidest things to exaggerate. And this is the nature of
yeah,
and I fully understand this. And fortunately, I'm not one to lament on the things people might say negatively, especially if I know that in my heart of hearts that I did everything as best I could.
yeah,
So if I know it's not true, if I know it was just like fake news, if I know it's just like some kind of BS that political opponents are you're spewing just to malign your character, so be it.
yeah,
I never really cared about that. Uh, what mattered to me more was what I said earlier about like going to bed at night, knowing that I did what I could
you
as
did good.
best I could
Yeah,
today to save as many people as we could. And
yeah,
it was scary moments because sometimes like, man, did I miss something today? Did I forget something today? It's like, and you can't sleep. I actually slept. I remember during COVID time, like my average sleeping hours in one night's like 3, maximum 4 hours.
wow,
Yeah,
wow.
and for some reason over time we kind of get used to it. And then when I got out of politics, man, I went back to like 6, 7 hours, 8 hours of sleeping. So it makes you the pressure gives you insomnia, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. But in the midst of this, tell us about your family.
Oh
How
my,
were you able to manage family, leading politically, and even in JCI?
well, we're really business people. We're not really in politics. My dad ventured into politics, and I kind of followed him in a bit. But we're really business people, and whenever I did JCI and my dad did JCI and my dad went to politics, I went to politics. My mom is actually the one who's keeping the business afloat, and my sister.
Wow.
So it was quite funny because when I told her that I was running for national president of JCI Philippines, he kind of just looked at me and kind of like just nodded her head because, and then I realized she experienced all of this when my dad ran for national president of JCI.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like it's nothing new. And
Wow.
when I said, "Hey, I think I have a chance to become world president," she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, um, go for it."
Go ahead.
I imagine some people would be like, What are you doing? So you're gonna be flying in and out, blah 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 blah." Like, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
go, yeah, do it." So
Wow.
the support has been amazing from my family, and I think a big part of it is that they understood where I was coming from just because they experienced it from my father to begin with. When my father
Mm.
became national president, he went to international as well. And from the start, Temi, I never wanted to be world president. That was not in my that wasn't in
Everybody says that. Everybody says
no,
that.
no, this is true. No, this is true. Though. This is true because I remember when I became national president, and I was talking to my advisor, Boydie, and this is how I met Baba and Pamphil and all those guys. I told him like, hey, I just want to be vice president of JCI, and by this time I still had about 3 years left in JCI,
Okay.
and my advisor Boydie is like, oh, you want to be VP? It's like, yeah, because the reason why I want to become VP is I just want to match the position that my dad held in JCI, which was VP,
Yeah. Wow.
and I remember he told me that hey, this was around the end of 2015, and he said, I don't think we have a chance to be VP in 2016. And then I was like, yeah, no
Mm.
worries, 'cause I still have till 2018. So whether 16, 17, or 18, if I get the chance, I get the chance. I would be very thankful. As you know, in JCI, these positions, there are no guarantees. And
Yeah.
I remember the last few days, the last day before the filing for the candidacy, he calls me from the United States, and Boydie goes, "Oh, hey, better finish your application." I'm like, what? For what? And it was like, "Oh, for VP, because I'm not saying there's a chance, but there might be a chance, so just submit it anyways." And
Mm.
the funny thing is that I eventually get elected, and I served in 2016 under Nigeria's very own Pascal Dike as my president.
Yeah.
I was VP that year under Pascal. So uh, served under Pascal, became good friends with him. Pascal's a great guy. We we have our inside jokes. We have our moments of levity between us.
Wow.
So it was a good year. And then the next thing I know, we're on to EVP, and then finally president in 2018. Yeah. And when I was president in
Wow.
2018,
Okay.
Aditola was my she was assigned as my executive assistant for for Africa and the Middle East.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
But so the purpose of this series is just to help you reflect on your journey. Most
Yeah.
times I realize that most leaders they get opportunity to talk about it here and there at conferences or events, but having it recorded while they sit comfortably, relaxed, and just think about how their journey went. So that's the purpose. So as you are talking, I'm just thinking alongside, looking at your journey. What else could we gain? I also want to delve into business a little. I want to know if JCI affected your business and how you were able to create opportunity because all of this, you're spending money. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did the JCI affect your financial capacity?
Um, I think JCI allowed me to, number one, it's like I was also able to see some business practices that were being done abroad. Whenever I have,
Mm.
especially when I have conversations with like senators from like Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and all these places, like, and a lot of the senators that they have, they are entrepreneurs, business people, and you get to have a lot of information about how the economy is going, what are the new practices and
Mm.
everything. You kind of apply this to your own business as well. Um, I know I've also had experience wherein say for example I'm sourcing a specific item from a different country, and basically the
Yeah,
first people that you want to contact are the JCI people who are in
exactly.
the country, and say, hey man, where can I find so and so and so, and they kind of give you a lot of feedback on that. Even in the Philippines, a lot of the members of JCI Philippines are engaged in business, especially the older generation. My dad's
Mm.
generation, most of them are still all in business, and whenever we run into each other, we kind of share business practices. So the networking, I think, and the sharing of the knowledge is a big thing in as far as business is concerned. um, our business is based in my city, and we have multiple facets to our business as well. But the way we manage as a family is that we've divided it to certain, say for example, our appliance business, our retail business for appliances. I'm
Yeah.
handling that. My sister's handling most of the food business, and my mother is like serving as the CFO and some of the other businesses as well. So we kind of divide the responsibility. Um, it takes a lot of work as well. But ever since I've been out of politics since 2022, I'm fully back in business, and I have been more active in JCI actually as well, because right now I'm doing a lot of. I've been quite active in visiting different countries. They asked me to do some trainings for them, and
Yeah,
like you said, it's the sharing of the stories is very very important, and I think it is a very good platform because usually you're right, when we go to the conferences, we go to the congresses, it's very formal training, it's JCI training, certification training, but there's not a whole lot
yeah,
of sharing of the experience. And I think this is a very good platform. I think there's a lot of stories, and I'm sure if you talk to the other presidents, they'll give you a lot of stories as well. And hopefully it reaches all the way to the new members, and they kind of see what's possible for them within JCI. Because at the end of the day, our unwritten responsibility in JCI is to be able to recruit and retain members, and regardless of
yeah,
whether you're an active member, you're a senator, you're alumni, or you're way past 40. The whole point is for us to keep growing the organization, and that's an unwritten rule that we all must take to heart. Yeah, you know.
yeah. So the way family business works in Philippines is not exactly the same in Nigeria. We most new generation or Gen Z as we call them, they are not willing to take up family business. They want to go their way.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
feel is it a culture in Philippines for you to
yeah,
have a family business?
yeah. I've seen that as well. I've seen that here in the Philippines. um, Quote unquote, the Gen Z they have their own way of processing information.
Mm,
They have their own sets of characteristics as well. I don't
yeah,
consider myself a Gen Z. I think I'm more of a Gen X guy. So um, yeah, even in the workplace here, the Gen Z, they tend to move around a lot. Um, they
mm,
when I say this, it means that they jump from one job to another. They look for, I guess they look for jobs that make them feel comfortable. Uh,
yeah,
uh, I don't want to say like the wrong thing here, but but they tend to be less patient. I would say that would be the right way of
yeah,
putting it. And
yeah,
even those that are born within business families on the second or third generation, I see a lot of Gen Z people, like, you know, foregoing the tradition that they have in their family business, and venturing out on their own, which can be good or bad depending on how you look at it. But it definitely
yeah,
happens. um, Even in my city, we're a small city. We're not the capital city. We're about 3 hours from the capital city. I see a lot of the Gen Z people who, say, for example, attended primary school or secondary school here. They tend to move out of the city. They'd want to go to a college in the big cities, or even out of the country. And
yeah,
sometimes they don't even look back. They're like, okay, we're happy here. We're just going to look for a job here, and stay here.
wow,
The parents are like, they kind of surprise their parents, but it happens. It's a different mindset. And I mean, we just have to like kind of find our ways on how to deal with it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do notice that a lot of the new hires that we have in our company, sometimes like after 6 months, they're like, oh, they want to move to another job, and there's really no reason for them to leave, but so, yeah.
yeah.
So I guess
So
this is just
looking at talking about business, I want you to speak to partnerships. Are there partnership opportunities in Philippines that Nigerians? I know many KCI Nigeria, members will be watching this. Are there partnership opportunities or you know collaboration that we can have with people in Philippines?
Yeah. Actually, it's a funny thing that you mentioned that, because in terms of business, I don't know exactly, but in terms of education, we do. And the reason for
Oh,
this, I remember when I was mayor of the city, the Nigerian ambassador actually came to the city. I just forgot her name. And the reason why is because in my city we have some private universities here, and we have a lot of Nigerian students who are here
Wow.
taking up different college courses and even taking up medicine and all these things. And we actually have a sizable African community here, and a lot of them are from Nigeria. So I remember when the
Wow.
Nigerian ambassador came, we hosted her, and we had an open forum with her, and we kind of like basically shared notes, and I reassured them that the Nigerian students are welcome in our city, and we'll extend to them, of course, the same courtesy we do with the regular people in the city, and all these things. So I think there's a lot of student exchange that is happening now between the Philippines and Nigeria. Um, in terms of I would say in terms of manufacturing, I think we I know Nigeria has you have oil reserves. I know that. I just don't know if there has been any business dealings between the oil and gas companies here with Nigerian suppliers. I'm not familiar if there are, but I can
Yeah.
speak to my experience in my city. We do have a lot of exchange students from Nigeria going to universities here in my city of Dagupan.
Okay. Okay. So, like, I want to connect the Gen Z with what I'm talking about. Perhaps you could give more context. Or many people want to work remotely with, from their base with people from other. Is there Are there opportunities of people from Nigeria working remotely with, or probably closest country to you, Japan and all?
Tell me, your connection was a little bit slow there. Can you repeat your question?
Okay, I will take it again. So I was asking if, because many people here want to work remotely with, without traveling, they prefer to work remotely. Are there opportunities of working with people in Philippines or probably East Asia, Japan, remotely from our base here?
Sorry. So I think your question is working remotely with Philippines and all these things. Yes, that was your question. Yeah,
Yes,
I
that was
think
my
there may
question.
be. I just don't know exactly what they are. But ever since the pandemic, I think the thrust in the Philippines has been really to physically go back to work. Working from home is not a. I don't think that is the direction of most companies in the Philippines. But um, we do a lot of work online in the sense of the BPOs that we have here,
Okay.
because the Philippines, if you look at Southeast Asia, if you look at Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and all these countries in this part of the world, the Philippines is the
Yeah.
one that has the best English speaking population,
Yeah.
because
True.
our school system is based on the American system. So everything is taught in English in all the schools. So everybody in the Philippines knows how to speak English, and
Yeah.
because of that, we have been a primary destination for a lot of the business process outsourcing companies. So customer service, and all these things, they put up BPOs here, and they do it for, and then their clients are basically the companies who do customer service and all of these things. So we have a lot of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, but generally, if you're talking about the traditional brick and mortar business in the Philippines, we definitely would rather people go to work physically than to be able to do the work remotely. Um, unless your work entails you a lot of computer stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So my work, mostly I work from home, as I have a physical business here, a
Yeah,
cleaning and laundry business, but I also
yeah,
do digital marketing, social media,
yeah,
website development and all.
yeah.
So
It's
thanks for
I,
that.
I
I
think
also
I
want,
think
yeah,
maybe it's kind of hard more to relate because our business is like, for example, like a fast food restaurant. We can't operate that remotely. Everybody has to be there. Like when we talk
Yeah.
about the appliance retail business, we actually have to be there, put the actual stocks in the store and actually talk to people and sell it to them. It's I don't think we can do this remotely though. So I guess
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
talking to me, I would definitely be on more on the side of being physically present in the stores and in the
Physical.
office. I guess for a different kind of business like digital marketing, for example, or e-commerce, and I think working remotely would be more appropriate for this. So yeah, so I guess
Perfect.
you'll have it both ways here.
Perfect. Perfect. So I want you to also tell us about Philippines. You have mentioned one or two things. What other things do you think Nigerians that are watching this should know about Philippines? Most of us have not been there before. We've read about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Philippines. Uh,
Yeah, culturally, Filipinos are very, very welcoming. We're very, very hospitable. So we definitely are very good in that aspect. Um, we're an archipelago, so 7,000 plus islands all over the Philippines. But we also have our climate is very similar to Nigeria. I remember when I was in Cote d'Ivoire, I was talking to the JCI people in Cote d'Ivoire, and I remember when we went to dinner one evening, and they told me they were serving like traditional Cote d'Ivoire food. I was so surprised because I would say that the food served to me was 80% the same as the food served in the Philippines. Only to find
wow.
out that in terms of the longitude and latitude, we're almost in the same longitude and latitude in as
Yeah.
far as the Earth is concerned. So I guess the flora and the fauna are the same. So the weather probably is not different from with you in Nigeria. I think the opportunities are if you want to learn. I think education would be an opportunity because everything is taught in English. Nigeria is English speaking, obviously, so
Hmm.
it makes sense for a lot of the Nigerians to come here. We also have students from Ghana, I know, and some of the English speaking African countries. They're also here.
Yeah.
Um, it's also a great place to visit if you are into going to the beach resorts. We're 7,000 islands, so pick one.
Wow.
Pick one. And I think strategically, if you want to explore Asia, like East Asia, Southeast Asia, if you look at the map, right, Philippines is very strategically located. Like for example, we are 3.5 hours away from Japan, just as we are 3.5 hours away
Mhm.
from Singapore. We are through two and a half
Wow.
hours away from Thailand and 2 hours away from Hong Kong. So this is the perfect jump off point if you want to explore the rest of Southeast Asia and East Asia. Um, we, I think the government, to be, this is just my opinion, I think the government could do a much better job in terms of processing business permits. We still have a lot of red tape. Um, it's still a little bit bureaucratic. We could do a better job on that. Um, we're still primarily an agricultural country, although again the new generation of the when I say agricultural families, like the farmers and everything, the old farmers
Yeah.
are now transitioning to the new generation, and like you said, the Gen Z generation now doesn't want to do farming. So we're now doing, even if we have an agriculture economy, we now are very reliant on importation of certain basic commodities like rice and all these things. We actually import it now to the Philippines. Um, inflation, inflation has been a big issue. I think our government is trying to control inflation, but in the last 3 years, especially after the pandemic, we've seen significant inflation as well. Um,
Yeah.
Power could be cheaper only because in the Philippines we do not. There's no law that allows us to use nuclear power. So, like for example, in China, the price per kilowatt for electricity is much cheaper compared to the Philippines.
Mhm.
And therefore, if you
Yeah.
want to come in here with a manufacturing business, um, we are an option, but I think it's also prudent on such a person to study uh, putting up a manufacturing business in other places in Asia. They may get better concessions in terms of labor prices and power costs and all these things. So yeah, but if you If you want to go to an English speaking country that has beaches, you want to go to school here, come to the Philippines, come visit. Which, by the way, next year we're
Yeah.
hosting the World Congress, so it would be an opportunity for a lot of the people from your country to come.
Yes. Yes.
And by the way, let me use this opportunity to promote, because we're holding the World Congress in a city called Angeles, and inside Angeles is a former American air base called Clark, and this Clark air base has now been converted into a commercial space. So inside
Wow.
Clark, we have five-star hotels, we have resorts, restaurants, golf courses, name it, we have it. And the most modern airport in the Philippines is now in Clark. And for people coming from for your side of the world, just hop onto an Emirates flight, go to Dubai, and from Dubai they'll fly you directly to Clark. So it's not a problem at all to come to the World
Wow.
Congress. So
Yes. Yes.
so even if you just want to look for business opportunities, educational opportunities, that you know, let's kill two birds with one stone. Come and see the Philippines. Come explore for opportunities and attend the World Congress. It would do perfect. You know, it's like hitting three birds with
Yeah.
one stone. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I have two more questions left,
Yes.
but I want you to think very well before you answer this question. I want you to be relaxed.
Yeah.
What is the best advice you have received?
Oh, what is the best advice I have ever received? Hmm. Ooh. Oh, okay.
Take your time.
Yeah. And there's a story to this, and I think it's very appropriate. I do distinctly remember that when I was, going up the ranks in JCI, when I was local president, national president, and even president. Um, and every single time that I was about to leave my house to travel to a JCI event, or fly to Nigeria, for example, and those moments that my mom would be at home when I was leaving the house, she would
Mhm.
always give me one advice, and the advice was be humble. And that was the only advice that she ever gave me.
Wow.
Be humble, be
Just
humble.
that.
Just that, just that. And at first, it's like the interpretation is don't be arrogant, you know,
Don't cause trouble.
don't cause trouble. But you kind of, if you really think about it, and it's really it means a lot of things. And when you say be humble, it's first is that being humble is admitting to yourself that you don't know everything that there is to know. There is always something to be learned,
Mm.
right? So you do not go to a JC event, you do not go to a meeting, know thinking that you know everything. In as
Mm.
much as you want to express what you know, it's also you have to also keep an open mind to learn what you don't know, right? So that's the first
Yeah.
thing. The second thing, this is now my interpretation of be humble, right? And the second
Yeah.
thing I think is I always had this I always told myself that whenever I would come across JCI members, that I would always treat them the same, whether they're a member
Wow.
for 2 months or whether they're a past world president. I would treat them the same, give them the same attention, give them the same respect. Um, Basically, treat everybody the same. And I think um, if you really think about the words "be humble," it also covers this. And the third and last thing is that when we say "be humble," I think it's also a responsibility to. It's also your responsibility to share this advice to people. It's
Mm.
like it's not just up to me to be humble, but I have to express to you that, hey, Temi, there's a value to being humble. I think that's part of
Yeah.
it. It's sharing that message to you. And 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 the one of the best quotes I've ever heard was from a colleague of mine. We were in a meeting, and he was kind of making a presentation, and in the end he goes, and let me leave you with this quote. He said, "Humility is the highest form of intelligence," and that is a very good quote.
Wow.
That
You
is
should say that again. Say that again, sir.
yeah. So the quote is, humility is the highest form of intelligence.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that was a very good quote that I said, hey, I'm gonna borrow this because I think it's a very good quote. And yeah, to this day, I end a lot of my talks, even to JCI members now when I do training, with that. The importance of being humble. And yeah, that I think that is the best advice that I have received in my life.
Awesome. Humility is the highest form of intelligence. If I don't remember anything, I would surely remember that.
Yeah,
I would
yeah, yeah.
surely remember that. So what are you up to right now? I believe you are probably planning something like legacy, what you want to be remembered for. I know you've done a lot in the past, but right now, what is on your mind?
Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit Gen Z about this word legacy, because the older generation, they think of legacy in a different way, and this is not a fault. I don't want to say this as, but the older generation thinks of legacy as, for business, maybe it's publicly listed and lives for a lifetime, or
Mhm.
for a lot of the politicians to have a bridge named after them, or like a hospital named after them. You know what I mean? This is like legacy for them. But for for some reason, I don't think of legacy that way.
Okay.
I tend to think of legacy more of how you affect people. And and at the stage of my life, I'm more than 40 years old. um I tend to think of legacy are those moments where I come across, especially JCI members, or people in my city, that come to me and say, hey, you know what, I remember when you gave that training on blah 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 blah, and when I heard you speak, it was the first time that I thought about running for chapter president. And when I became chapter
Wow.
president, I did the best that I could. Or I would run into someone here in my city and say, hey, when you were mayor, I remember you came to our house when it was flooded, and you reassured us, blah blah blah, and you gave us help. And most of these things, Temi, I don't remember anymore, or like I have maybe a little bit of memory of it. I don't remember the exact places where it took place, or what
Yeah.
what. Sometimes I don't even remember what I said during that training. They have to remind. Oh, and then I say, oh, I said that. It's like, but it's like
Wow.
your the little words, the little conversations, the small actions that resonate over time, and they are able to achieve something positive for themselves because of what you said or what you did. To me, that is legacy. So
Wow.
it's not having your name up on the wall. I really don't think that. In the end, it's like, there's a quote. I think it's by Maya Angelou. It goes, it really, people will not remember what you say. People will not
Yeah.
remember the words, but they will always remember how
So
you made them feel, right?
how
And
you made them feel. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that is the best legacy. And to this day, those are the most touching moments for me whenever I attend like conferences or world congress, and people would come up to me who I haven't seen for 5 years, and they come up to me and say, hey, you know what, I'm the national president now. And like, really? And I was like, yeah, because I remember when I picked you up from the airport, we had this conversation. You told me that I should go for national president. I'm like, oh, I did that. I was like, I don't remember, but these
Wow.
days, like, it's amazing how we can affect people with really the small things. And
Mm.
so, it's like we can always teach people with words, right? But I think we really teach people a lot more also with our actions. So it's a
Yeah.
combination of both, and that to me is legacy more than anything else. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I think this is legacy right here because you said something that I will probably not forget. Humility is the highest form of intelligence. I would always remember that. And the way you accepted me when I reached out to you, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it. I felt it would be harder to get a JCI World President on this podcast. And you made it so
Oh,
simple. I
when you're
really appreciate it.
when you're a past president, you'll have a lot of time. No, just kidding. No, no, but it's always I always try to make time for especially JC. I'm very very passionate about this organization, and I really believe in this organization. The experience that it gives you is definitely something that you will not experience anywhere else, and that has always been the thing. One of the things that I lament, because in as much as I want to tell you what this organization can be for you, it's really different for you when you experience it, right? Like
Yeah,
I can tell you all my stories, but they're just going to be stories. But when you
yeah,
go through it, when you yourself go through it, and it's a totally different thing. And I have this theory that, JCI people, like the people who stay in this organization, right? They can always point to one singular moment wherein they
mm,
became true-blooded JCI members, and they stay because of that moment.
wow,
And and you can ask your you can ask past President Pascal, you can ask Kola Asinowo, or whoever, and they will tell you exactly the moments wherein they felt that, when they experienced that moment, that made them into true-blooded JCI members, and it stays with you for the rest of your life. And
wow,
man, I mean, even after my world presidency, it's like nowadays, it's like, if I just want to spread the word, as much as I can,
mm,
and I and to be honest, it gets more difficult because of changing generational mindsets.
yeah,
I mean, the presentation is going to be a little bit different, the interpretation is going to be a little different, but uh, I, I I still think that when we tell stories, these
yeah,
transcend generational differences. Stories
true.
are The stories from 1,000 years ago are still being told today. And our goal is that
Mm,
our story should still be told to the new members and to the future members of JCI.
yeah.
So it's very important that we get our stories across to everyone as much as we can. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So when we started this platform, our goal was just to document as many stories as possible. We don't know how this would happen. Confirm if you can hear me, sir. Please confirm if I'm still audible.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so our goal is to gather stories of presidents, any member that has done something remarkable. What do you think? We are not sure exactly how far this will go. What can you say to the team?
Um, I say, please stick to this platform. Number one, it's very nice because it's very informal. It's not structured. We were basically just having a conversation. I think
Yeah.
secondly, it's a very good environment because it's very relaxed, and even the people who have had high positions in JCI could just be themselves and they'd be able to express themselves. The third is that
Mm,
I'm so happy that you encourage us to tell our stories, because
mm,
as I said previously, it's easy to do training, but it's very hard to tell the story. And it has been scientifically proven that telling the story is the best way to connect with another person.
yeah.
So I hope you continue to do this. I hope you continue to expand this. um, Invite other presidents who are from different parts of the world, and you'll get their perspectives as well. And the most important thing is that for us to be able to have stories, we must always still have the experiences. So when I said
Yeah.
earlier that we must take advantage of all the experiences that we have, in the opportunities and experience we have, we should do that. It's
Yeah.
really the best thing to do. And I say this all the time too. Like, look, listen. You go to the, for example, you're going to the national convention of JCI in Nigeria. Go, and you know what? If you miss your flight, that's a great experience. You get sick after
Wow.
the convention, that's a great experience. You book the wrong hotel and you go end up going to the wrong. That's a great experience.
That's a
Believe
great experience.
believe me, all experiences, the good and the not so good ones, in
Wow.
totality, are all going to be great experiences. And I
Wow.
mean, I can tell you so many stories. When I was a young member of this JCI, we go to this convention and we end up not having a hotel room, and we end up, man, we don't even where we're gonna sleep. And we talk about it today, and it's a great bonding moment with my fellow JCI members from that time. So this is what I'm saying. Like, do not you don't even have to distinguish the good and the bad experiences in JCI. The most important
Wow.
thing is to go
Wow.
through the experience. And trust me, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years from now, when you look back, you would have learned something from the bad experience. Just you learned something from the good experience. That is for sure.
Wow. Thank you so much for this. I enjoyed speaking with you. I totally enjoyed it. It was fun for me.
Thank you,
Thank
Tammy.
you
Thank
so much. I won't want to take your time beyond this. We have spent 59 minutes on this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. I hope to see you in our World Congress next year. Hopefully you can make it here. All right,
I
man.
hope so.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I really appreciate it. Take care. Yeah.